Hi, my name's Cathy Radnor and I work for CNIB in Eastern Ontario. Monique Caissie came to our training symposium this weekend and spoke eloquently. She covered topics such as setting healthy boundaries and assertiveness training, something that my group needs. We now feel more prepared and better equipped to go about our duties. So a big thank you, Monique. We really appreciate your coming.
Now, I have heard people have gotten into arguments with him, and he has a rule. If he yells louder, he's right. This is not going to go well. I have a whole week of working with him, and I don't know how I'm going to make it through this week. Now, here I am. I want to go into a collaborative stance, and I know that it's not going to happen tonight because I'm just too mad. But the next day I come to work, and I'm prepared to try and change the dynamics so that this week goes well with him. So I say, hey, Dino, what's for supper tonight? Now, he's a bit of a control freak if you haven't figured that out. And he took over the kitchen when he started 5 weeks ago. And he's a good cook. And I know he could be a chef because he's told me several times. And everyone else, he could be a restaurateur.
Thank you, Monique, for a wonderful presentation. It was extremely insightful on how to set boundaries and definitely a lot of tips and tricks that I'll be taking home with me today.
Hi, I just came from a workshop session with Monique Caissie, and I have to say it was refreshing. It was an incredible reminder of all the things that we really know, but we don't implement in our lives all the time. So it was really good. A lot to take home with this, a lot to change in the way I do things. Setting boundaries is definitely going to be something I'm going to be focusing on. Thank you so much, Monique.
And just out of curiosity, how many of you here work in an environment where you're in an office with a receptionist, by show of hands? So not so many. How many of you here work at home in an office? A few are. So when you go into an office, the physical boundary is pretty specific, right? You know that this is the receptionist, and that smile says, I can't go through until she says so. And so the physical boundaries are very obvious, and if we close a door, we know that, okay, this is off limits. But when we're in our home office, and I started working at home, in my home office, my 14-year-old drama queen would come home from school and need to tell me about everything that happened. Even if I was on the phone with an important client, she would come into the door, she'd play with the things on my desk, and she would thump impatiently while I was trying to get some work done. And so I had to tell her that this doesn't work for me. And of course, as a 14-year-old does, she ignored me and continued to do it. So I set up a physical boundary, and it was so simple. It was a piece of paper that I pinned from the door jamb to in her face that said, unless you are bleeding, do not bother me. And she stopped doing it. Physical boundaries are easy, but the more difficult one are the psychological boundaries, and there's actually 3.
I hold many events in Canada, United States, and in other parts of the world, and recently Monique was a guest speaker at one of my events. Not only was she able to hold the crowd's attention, but she kept them engaged, kept them laughing, and her message is profound and universal to any audience. Monique knows how to be a great professional speaker, and if you want to keep your event alive, and if you really want to engage your audience and have them walk away with some amazing information that can profoundly affect their lives, I recommend you hire Monique.
Now, 2 things about consequences. First of all, be sure you have the power to follow through. And secondly, be sure you do, because if you do not, it loses its value.
Hi, Monique. I'm a part-time intervenor with CNIB, and I've never had any kind of coach training in terms of asserting myself. And what I've taken away from this is a strength that I am confident will carry on from day to day. It impacted me so strongly that I feel capable of managing things that I didn't think I could manage before, because I know the language I need to use, whereas before I didn't know what to say. So I want to thank you.
But when we're assertive, we're not trying to pull one over on the other, right? We're really trying to give them the information they need to sort of move on from where we're at so that we can be in better relationship with them. So I'm going to go through the continuum. So there's basically, you have your passive little kitty cat, and then you have your aggressive bull. I almost put a bulldozer there because some of them, and then of course we have our assertive person in the center. So it really is like a spectrum, right? So we have the passive person who's like, oh, please like me, and then we have the person on the other extreme who's like, I'm Donald Trump. And you've got the person in the middle. He won, by the way, last night? Yeah, I don't know if you know that. But so then you've got your person in the center who's really trying to just have a conversation with you. So they're not avoiding, and they're not bulldozing you, they're just trying to have a conversation with you.
As the host of MoMondays Montreal, I've heard her speak on 4 different occasions, on 4 different topics. Here's what I noticed. She's humble, she's comical, and she uses real life scenarios and gives us real life lessons that lead to real phenomenal results. You need Monique Caissie on your stage.
Because when we are not honest in our communications, what happens is we are not giving people the data they need to be in communication, in relationship with us. So when we allow ourselves to be honest, we allow ourselves to have better relationships. And if you should try this and it does not work, don't worry, they'll give you another opportunity.